Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War Mythic of the Cantur. Luckily, even though the Vault event got moved by a week, the Mythic did not, so we still have the Mythic this Friday, as we do every first Friday of every single month. It is in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest, but anyways, this video we are just going to be going over first impressions, seeing kind of what it can do, going over the troop, going over the key opening, you know, a lot of normal stuff with the Mythic. So unfortunately, is this Mythic any good? Likely no. It's probably within the skippable range. It is usable, but pretty mid-range of that usable. It's true damage options, that's always good. It deals true damage to the first and last enemies, boosted by blue gems. And boost ratio, kind of okay. It's never going to kill anything outright. But, you know, you got a little bit of additional damage there. You can kind of do with other true damage pokes to kind of get within range. Its main gimmick, I would say, is more so the fact that you can do true damage while having a different alternative means of tanking. So there are quite a few different ways that true damage troops can already tank, either by gaining life from the true damage that they do, or in the case of like Arachne Weaver, it has stealthy plus impervious, which keeps it pretty safe. This thing's gimmick for protection is that it has submerge plus armor reduction, or skull reduction. It also gets a little bit of armor, but that armor is going to be pretty minuscule later in the game. But submerge can be pretty interesting. There are some submerge teams that can kind of be built. It depends if you're up against a very AoE team. This is definitely more of a troop that you would slot into a team to counter a team more than one that you would plop onto every team. More so maybe like for a guild war or something similar. Or you're just up against a battle where just submerge would be particularly useful. Submerge is one of those really weird mechanics where it's in theory very strong, but in a lot of battles does absolutely nothing. Which makes this troop overall not worth using in most situations. Especially when we have things like the Tesla buff the other week. We have things like Scourge of Honor, Weaver, Life and Death. There are so many true damage options, as well as true damage options that already hit specific slots that kind of already fill his role. But nonetheless, it is another troop for Blackhawk, which is actually probably one of the other big downsides of it. It is not from Merlantis. Not only is it not from Merlantis, it's also not a merfolk. If this was a Merlantis merfolk, while also keeping elemental, it would have a lot more use cases, because the biggest issue with it being Blackhawk monster is this category doesn't really have that much submerge, whereas pretty much all of it is within the merfolk, not all of it, but you know, a good majority of it is within the merfolk area. So for it to be in some place completely different without even having that typing, definitely limits it even further. You definitely are going to be building it more so into elemental more often than not than you are into monster. And Blackhawk synergy itself has pretty much none. There's like something that creates like a bunch of blue and like a few other things there. I guess the hero class is +3 blue, so there are kind of things that you can semi-build from there, but it's more so a rogue kingdom than that of a elemental one, or even a monster one for that matter. Though there are a few monsters, but very, very few. Anyways, let's go and try getting this troop. Now we're going to start with gem keys, see how many it will take us. Hopefully not too many. We'll do 50 at a time with confidence that we'll get it. We'll probably get it somewhere in there. Hopefully we don't burn through too many. How many did we go through last time? Did we get 3 of the previous Mythic? But hey, we actually got to use it for the event that's going on this week. There's an event where using 2 or 3 of them is actually viable, so hey, we got to use some value of getting so many of the previous one. This is definitely one you only want 1 or 0 copies of. I still feel like it's pretty skippable personally, but it is not a troop for Blackhawk, and if you don't already have one there, it could be your first, and you can target it pretty nicely. And of course, as with every Mythic, it is better to get a Mythic that you don't have that isn't necessarily the greatest, but rather than getting a repeat of a Mythic you already have, that you don't really need more copies of. But anyways, let's go and upgrade this troop, slot it into every single one of our locations here, and see what we can do. Maybe it's better than it seems, so it does seem towards the average side. So right off the bat, might as well just start tossing all the orbs, just to make this go a little bit quicker. Big orange, big green, obviously not going to metal it. No intention to do that. Though, out of curiosity, what stats does he get? He gets Striker, so a bit of magic. That is 8 additional true damage. That's not as much as some other troops, obviously, but it is 8 total. I know it says 4 here, but of course you're hitting on 2 troops. And if you count the fact that it's true damage, it's kind of like 16 additional. However, comparatively, any troop that does damage to all enemies with no extra boost ratio at all, or, you know, as in no true damage, no, like, 2 times damage or anything like that based on magic, you're already hitting 16 because you're doing 4 additional damage to all enemies, which ends up coming out to 16 total damage, of course, assuming they're all alive. So this is pretty much the same amount of damage bonuses you'd be getting from a full AoE any Mythic, which puts it in a pretty, well, average category, as is almost everything with this troop, pretty much. Very just along the lines of just right in the middle. So let's see. Let me go to let me go actually compare it real quick to some of the other things real quick in. Wow, I'd already forget the name of the kingdom. The kingdom of Blackhawk. Gosh, Blackhawk, I feel like I never go for Blackhawk for much. But as far as Blackhawk is concerned, like compared to the other mythics within this location, you already have some pretty good ones. You have Megavore for 4 times armor tier and insta-kill, impervious, already considered good. You have Sycorax, while not my personal favorite to use. It's impervious, it has infinite loop, it's kind of like the trolls, but way higher mana cost, but it can loop onto brown, blue, or green, depending on what you need. And then you have this guy here doing, like, nothing comparatively. Making him even more skippable, because if you ever are going to event key for this kingdom, you're looking for Megavore and Sycorax, you're not looking for Cantur. Like, you can pick it up, obviously, but, you know, you're mostly looking for these two, more so Megavore, unless you really want to build a Sycorax team. And as I was mentioning with monster synergies here, if we lower it down to monsters, this does not give us too many options. There's a few, like if we really wanted to build something there. Like we could put it with Kraken would work pretty good. That's like the whole list, because I'm not sure Megavore would have much of a synergy with it. So yeah, it'd be like Kraken, Cantur with like some other monsters from some other location. You can't really build like a pure Blackhawk one out of it yet, which is kind of weird. Because it's more of a rogue kingdom, it's not a monster kingdom, even though it does occupy some monsters within the kingdom itself. But anyways, let's go and put them into a couple slots here, just within our placeholders, and we're going to be trying 4 teams here, just kind of first impressions. Might build some more this weekend just to see if we can kind of get something rolling with them. These are kind of just the first ones, just kind of tossed up to see what they can do. All in the description below if you do want to go and copy-paste any of them, but we'll start from the top. We'll probably just do these in Explore 12, unless we feel like one of them might be worthwhile to show in... That's not Explore 12. Well, it's not Explore 9. I guess it was messing with a team on a lower Explore there. But anyways, let's go with the double tank one. So Draculus, I feel like, is a troop I underused, despite it actually being kind of in a similar category as this guy. Basically, this is a very tanky mythic. It ends up gaining a bunch of life every single time it does true damage. And this is a little bit slow compared to other true damage options, especially now that Tesla occupies the same color and has even more boost ratio for even more damage. But basically, we're just using these together to just try to speed kill. One thing that we're going to be doing a lot with this mythic is trying to prioritize killing the first and last enemies basically earlier than the others by constantly just doing chip damage and then getting a double kill. Except instead of like Weaver that does it from the back, this thing will try to be doing it from the middle, essentially. Also, I should just grab 1 mana. That was actually lethal due to boost ratio there. I could actually do it off a yellow, but we don't have a yellow. So we'll just grab some skulls there. Take the other skull on, so we might as well just kill it off of that. But yeah, we could actually killed it with the second cast there. But it's going to be doing a lot of double kills, essentially, due to the way that it distributes its damage. Here, we're actually going to be using it with a Tesla and doing it with a Perpetual Blue Storm. So Skady, of course, Perpetual Blue Storm, and one thing that this troop does have, which I didn't emphasize too much, but it does have a blue boost ratio of 3 per every single blue gem on the board. This is a decent amount, obviously, with like 10 on the board. That is 30 additional damage to 2 different enemies. That's all true damage. So, you know, that stacks up to be a pretty decent chunk. We're going to be going and trying to get Angry Mob here, just as our mana accumulator. This also allows us to have more tanking. Not only do we have Submerge to tank, not only do we have Armor to tank and a little bit of extra armor gain, but we'll also have the resummon of Angry Mob if this troop was to go out, so that we could still run the Tesla method. Speaking of which, main way that we're going to do this is throw this before the Tesla, and then ideally Tesla will wipe out the first and last, and it'll be kind of like the same strategy as before, just a bit less tanky overall. No, it wasn't enough damage. So solution to this is actually to do it in inverse order now. So the first time around, so that we would try to maximize our damage, we did the Cantur and then the Tesla, but in this time we're actually have to go inverse due to where the HP values are. So we'll go to Tesla, and if they still weren't dead, we would go for the Cantur. So we just have to switch order for the second half there. Anyways, next we have a 4 times Elemental with true damage. This one kind of just tossed together a couple of the Elemental options, actually using Shoggorath, oddly enough, as our mana accumulator, which, you know, compared to some mana accumulators, not the greatest thing out there. But we're using this just to go for the all-in true damage, and of course you get a bunch of extra bonuses for doing so. Most notably, a bit of extra magic, so that we can hit a little bit higher. Overall, mostly just trying to put some like mid-range rarity. Like everything here is pretty low rarity. Legend you get from a faction. Legend you get from a faction. So not like the super low rarity team like the next one we're going to be doing, but still kind of keeping it low while having a coherent true damage team without trying to use any of like the spamming mythics, because it's really easy just to put like or Tesla. It's really easy. Though pretty much everyone has done now that we just had the event. But it's really easy just to put like 2 or 3 of the mythics together. Put like a mana accumulator there. It's like, oh, it's good to go. But I wanted to diversify a little bit. And of course, you can also just put Tesla on any of these, and they'll function very, very well, as Tesla tends to do. So basically, the main gimmick of this is they both hit the first and last enemy. There aren't too many troops in the game that do this. It also has silence, too, which is nice. but hits the first and last enemy while doing some mana accumulation. And it'll be exploding blues with how we have the team currently set up, but it does it based on your highest allied gem. So you can actually determine which one this is going to be by composing your team in a certain way. In this case, we're just doing it for blue. But basically, they both hit first and last, so of course we're just focusing first and last, just hitting it that way, killing them out. We do have a way to reposition them too if we feel like we need a way to kill a different enemy. This does a bunch of true damage and knocks one to the back and gives some elemental stars, which do have the mana we need. Unfortunately, didn't get it, but it does include the blue mana. And, you know, ideally we'd be able to get a little bit of value from that to get all of our mana accumulation rolling as well. But we're mostly doing it off the singular troop right there, which we definitely need more of his mana right about now if we could actually end up getting any from this board. We try for from Sky there, not worth it. Let's see. Actually, no, we can't even get it that low. Let's see. We'll take the brown for now. See if we can get another elemental star. No, he drained our mana accumulator. Or what we're basically calling a mana accumulator for this fight. We could definitely offset a little bit more with a mana accumulator here. I was hoping that thing would be enough, but not quite. It's getting a little bit in there, but not as much as you would necessarily want for a primary mana accumulator. I have used them in the past for such. It's it can definitely work. I think the biggest issue is normally when I use them as a mana accumulator, I actually use like 2 of them on a team. Because I'm used to having like multiple because of the faction and similar. But yeah, in that kind of context, he does do a little bit more, but not too big a deal. We throw it down the double true damage. We throw it down the other true damage. It's dead. And there we go. Basically just with a legend spam team, just with the Mythic occupying space. And for the final battle here, we have the low rarity team. So low rarity is going to be going all in on the Queen Beatrix option. We're using a Mang because that can just carry you through the entire game, so always a great strategy to just have Hero Mang with Barrier on Brown in your first slot. We're actually using Titan for its 50% to get Ice Troll, so Ice Troll ends up doubling the amount of blue and brown on the board. So we're basically utilizing that to go synergize with Beatrix, synergize with the Cantur, and using that as our mana accumulation base, and then Beatrix for our cleanse. Basically just making a very safe early game team that is focused around true damage. So we'll go with this, take the other thing. Trying to get our Mang up just so we have a secondary means of damage, even though our main mana accumulation is going to be from our little middle guy over there. So essentially we're just going to want to wait until the board has a bunch of blue and brown, which honestly this board seems perfectly fine for. So we're going to do that, get a billion mana for everyone, and it's pretty much a strategy. We throw down the Mang so we have a nice amount of damage output. So whenever we take a skull, we're pretty much going to kill something now, ideally. And I'm not going to take those greens and trying to get an extra turn. And now we can just spam Beatrix. We can cast this whenever we want to go secure a kill. Like right now, we can actually secure a kill. So I think we're going to go for that, then go back to the Beatrix. So we'll go take one turn, let it just like skull poke us. We'll have Barrier on Hero, so it's not really going to die. Take the little poke, get our double kill. Now Beatrix damage will be more concentrated. Can you please stop mana draining us? Luckily, there's a solution. We'll skull poke it. That's why we grabbed the Mang. So if we had to, we could just do skull poke dead. Which at this point, I think I'm going to do since he mana drained our kill option. Come on, I need that Beatrix. I gave a ticket now because it's full blocked, and I was hoping, which did happen, that this thing would full mana both of these. And that did occur. What I did not anticipate is getting mana drained when it was blocked. So now we got to go just find a skull poke or something, which is not ideal that he drained us there, but shouldn't be that hard to find a poke on this thing. Though it is surprisingly finding itself to be a little bit harder. Come on, get in there. Don't you take our poke, we need the poke. Okay, let's see. I don't want to have to use a Mang here. It's gaining life too, which is always not ideal there. Let's see. First and last. I actually forget. Does this double poke? It doesn't. No, it did. No, it didn't. Yeah, it doesn't double poke when there's one left. Interesting. I thought first and last did, because first and last... Well, I guess first and last in the sense that they're the same enemy. I could always sworn first and last double taps one remaining. There's like slightly different wording on some of them. And I don't always feel like the mechanic works the same for all. But yeah, it's first and last does not double tap the enemy, which unfortunately makes it even a little bit weaker. Hey, wow, a Nisha? A Nisha from a random chest? I'll take that. First, that's the best metal in the game. And while most of them don't come from Explorer 12 these days because of all the merchants and everything else and angels, hey, getting one from Explorer 12 is still very nice. But yeah, that's basically the rundown on the new Mythic. It's pretty much exactly where we thought it would be. It's pretty much the exact mid-range, which is why we showed it. Tried to use it mostly with mid-range troop for the most part, other than that one Tesla team, which is very much not a mid-range troop. But overall, it's okay. I would say it's pretty skippable. I would wait, especially if you have no Blackhawk troops. I would just wait until, unless you really need it for the immediate upgrade, I would just wait until Blackhawk event week, throw some event keys, and just test your luck. because while you might still get a Cantur, you'll at least have a chance of getting something good like Megavore, which is a much better true damage option than this, with a much more utility and a free insta-kill and impervious, or going for the Mana Accumulator there, which I use him so little I already forgot his name again. But he's basically the troll replacement where you can just double any color you want. A lot of mana accumulation, a lot of life gain as well. It's a huge life gainer if we ever get a good life boost ratio. Not to mention, Sycorax is his name. Not to mention, you know who Sycorax synergizes pretty well if you're buying the campaign this week? Or eventually get it at a later point. We actually have a life boost ratio Mythic coming in at the end of this campaign. And with that, hey, Sycorax with him into brown spam, it would work. That is a strategy that might be done to make this Mythic usable, which will probably be the next Mythic we're going to be going over. Because, yeah, this guy comes out in 4 weeks. So, actually, we're going to be getting 2 Mythics in the same week, then. We're going to be getting July's Mythic and our Avatar around the same time. So, that's going to be slightly annoying. 2 Mythics basically the exact same week. One on Monday, one on Friday, essentially. Interesting. That seems to happen quite often. But anyways, guys, let's run down on the Mythic. Pretty average. Still get it if you want it. There's better true damages, though. Honestly, if you got Tesla the other week on Adana, you're never going to need to touch this thing. Tesla is just so good. So absurdly good. And they buffed her even more, so very little need to use something like this compared to it. And there's already so many other utility mythics that just kind of cover what it already does to a point where it doesn't really fit a niche that it needs. I guess it has submerge, but submerge isn't really needed in most situations. It just seems really average and pretty skippable. But anyways, guys, that's the rundown on the Mythic. Still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. If you happen to want to use any of the teams that we ended up mentioning, they will also be down there. And while this does not have a timer, this will be available for the next week, all the way until next Friday reset. So basically until the end of Thursday you have to get this Mythic. So if you do want to get it, make sure to do so. And if you do want to try to avoid it, make sure at the beginning of next week to not open Glory Gem Guild or VIP chest, as it'll still be in there until Friday reset time of next week. Anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up for now. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.